Welcome, everyone. Today, we're talking about something most of us just brush off that weird little brain glitch called déjà vu. But what if it's more than just a glitch? What if it's something deeper, maybe even unsettling?
Exactly. We're looking at some accounts today, allegedly true stories, where déjà vu wasn't just that fleeting, I've been here before feeling. For these people, it spiraled. It made them question, their own minds, reality itself, sometimes even their own lives.
Okay, so that's our focus today. We're going beyond the usual explanations for déjà vu. We're exploring these really disturbing firsthand accounts where that feeling of familiarity turned into something chilling, almost like a premonition. Let's see how these specific, sometimes terrifying stories connect.
It might just shake up how you think about time and memory.
All right, let's start with our first story. This one's from a guy named Ryan back in 2017. He was living in central New Jersey in this pretty standard 3-story brick apartment building. He mentioned it was a bit dingy, actually. His roommate, Nick, worked nights, so Ryan was often there alone.
Right, setting the scene.
So one Thursday night, early February, Ryan gets home, and there's this really odd smell. He described it as burnt rubber mixed with, citrus cleaner.
A very specific combination.
Yeah, and he says that smell just triggered something, and then bam, the déjà vu hits him. But he said it was like a sledgehammer. Not just familiar, but this intense feeling he had lived this exact moment before. Every single detail.
And the detail is key here. He didn't just feel it, he knew what was coming next. He described knowing the light in the hall would flicker twice, then he'd hear a woman yell and laugh from downstairs, and then this dull metallic thud from the end of the hall.
And it happened exactly like that, in that order. He said he was more confused than scared at first.
Understandable.
But then, it happened again the next night. This time it was a specific scene on TV, the dialogue, even his phone buzzing on the nightstand at a certain moment. Over the next 5 days, these moments got more frequent. He actually started writing them down, trying to test himself. He was always right, every time. He said they didn't feel like memories, though. He called them reminders of something I hadn't lived yet, like knowing exactly when Nick would text or a dog barking outside.
Reminders of something he hadn't lived yet.
Yeah.
Wow. It really makes you ask, if it's not memory, then what is it?
Exactly. And then the dream started. Yeah. He kept dreaming his bedroom door opened, and Nick walked in looking pale, sweating, and said, "There's someone in the building."
Yeah.
But the voice was wrong, too flat, robotic somehow. The same dream, night after night.
That sounds incredibly unnerving.
And then the last night this happened, around 3:12 a.m., it wasn't a dream anymore. Nick was standing there, in the doorway, said the exact same words. "There's someone in the building."
Oh my God.
Ryan grabbed a bat, they checked the hallway, called the police, found nothing. But both of them felt something was deeply wrong. Ryan mentioned the shadows seems off, like they didn't move right.
And did Nick mention the dreams?
Yes. That's the kicker. Nick admitted he'd been having the exact same dream.
Both of them. Okay, that changes things. That's not just one person's brain glitching. That suggests something shared, something external maybe.
Ryan thinks so. He moved out soon after. He wonders now if memory is just us accessing different, timelines stacked on top of each other.
Like layers.
Yeah. And maybe that hallway was a weak spot, a seam between two versions of reality, as he put it.
Yeah.
He says he still feels this weird pull towards that building sometimes.
Believing there's something waiting there, maybe a choice he didn't make in this reality, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How solid is the reality we perceive?
Absolutely. Let's move to our next account. This involves another Ryan, actually no relation 17-year-old, and his older brother Chris, who was 19. They were in a small town, lots of woods around, and decided to check out this abandoned house people talked about, just exploring,
Classic teenage adventure fuel.
Right. So they start walking down this trail. Pretty normal at first. But after maybe 10 minutes, Ryan gets this intense wave of déjà vu. He felt like he'd walked this trail, had this exact conversation with Chris. He even remembered seeing a specific broken fence post up ahead, even though he was sure he'd never been there.
So again, specific details emerging before they happen.
Exactly. And the deeper they went into the woods, the stronger the feeling got. He knew somehow they were going to pass this thick tree with a big hole in it, and sure enough, 5 minutes later, there it was.
That's eerie, but it gets more specific, right, about the house itself.
Oh, yeah. He started picturing the house in his mind before they saw it. A 2-story place, peeling green paint, one front step broken, a broken window upstairs, dead vines climbing up it. He saw it all vividly.
A complete premonition of the location.
And when they finally got there, It was the exact house. Down to just about every last detail, he said. His stomach just dropped. He wanted to turn back right then.
I don't blame him.
But Chris, older brother, wanted to go inside. The front door was already ajar. Inside, Ryan said the silence was almost deafening, heavy, and he felt like they were being watched.
That feeling of being watched is common in these kinds of places, but given the déjà vu.
Right. So they're looking around the first floor, broken furniture, peeling wallpaper, and Ryan just blurts out, kind of without thinking, I remember being here before, and I remember a woman upstairs.
Whoa. What did Chris say?
Chris thought he was just trying to spook him at first. But then they both heard it. A soft creak from the floorboards directly above them.
Both of them heard it. That confirms it wasn't just in Ryan's head.
Totally. They did rock, paper, scissors to see who'd go up. Ryan lost, but refused to go. So Chris went, cautiously. Ryan waited at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh.
Chris walked down the upstairs hall towards the last room on the right where the sound came from. He pushed the door open, froze, and then screamed. Just screamed, run!
And did they?
Oh, yeah. Chris practically shoved Ryan down the stairs, and they bolted out of there. Didn't stop running till they were way back down the trail.
What did Chris say he saw?
He said there was a woman in that room, just standing there staring out the window like a statue. He mentioned grayish blonde hair, shoulder length. Chris swore he wasn't joking, even when Ryan accused him of pulling a prank later.
So the déjà vu led Ryan to predict a presence. They both heard evidence of it. And then Chris actually saw something terrifying that seemed to fit.
Yeah, a premonition that seemed to lead directly to a confrontation. That shared element, the sound they both heard, makes this one really stand out.
It really does. It shifts it from purely internal experience to something potentially external.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Our third story takes place more recently, in 2020, outside Scranton, Pennsylvania. This person described the early lockdown period as feeling unreal, like living in a scripted loop.
A feeling many people probably shared during that time, but this took a specific turn.
Right. They were driving home late one night. It was snowy, maybe 1:30 a.m. Approaching this intersection near their house, 4 stop signs, no traffic lights, notorious spot. As they got closer, they felt this, heavy feeling settle in their chest. Not exactly fear, but that familiar sense of having done this exact thing before. So even though they had the right of way, they slowed down more than usual.
But instinctively braked early.
Yes. And that hesitation saved their life. A black pickup truck completely blew through its stop sign on their left. If they hadn't slowed down, it would have been a direct, likely fatal T-bone collision.
Wow, a direct intervention based on that feeling.
But here's the really terrifying part. They didn't just avoid the crash. They had a memory of it.
A memory of the crash that didn't happen.
Exactly. They remembered the crunch of metal, the shattering glass, the airbag hitting their face vividly, like it had actually occurred, but it hadn't. Not in this reality, anyway.
That's profoundly disturbing to remember your own potential death.
They tried to brush it off. Pandemic stress, maybe. But it happened again, subtly. A few nights later, waiting at a red light, they knew what song was about to play on a radio before it started. They saw a woman walking her dog in their mind just before she appeared on the crosswalk.
So the feeling persisted, like they weren't quite in sync with the present.
Yeah, they said it felt like reenacting life, not living it. And then, like Ryan in the first story, the dream started.
Oh no, the same crash.
The same intersection. Same crash, getting clearer, more visceral each night. The final dream was of seeing their own body in the driver's seat, dead. Glassy eyes, a gash on the temple.
That's horrific. I imagine that prompted action.
Absolutely. Woke up in a cold sweat, said, nope, not taking that road, drove 10 minutes out of the way, took the highway instead.
Smart move.
Later that day, a friend texted them, awful news. There had been a fatal crash at that exact intersection, around the same time they would have been there, involving the same make and color of car they drove.
No. But it wasn't them?
It wasn't them. A different person died. But, as the narrator put it, it was the same ending, just with a different participant.
Good Lord. That raises the chilling question they posed. Was I remembering my own death in another timeline?
Exactly. They even looked into it, found other accounts online of people having these weird memories of things that hadn't happened, often linked to near-death situations.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is déjà vu sometimes a side effect of slipping through the cracks?
Yeah.
Or is time itself not linear, but maybe, as they suggested, a constantly reloading loop?
And the idea that maybe when we avoid disaster is because some part of us, some echo from another loop, is desperately warning us.
Trying to prevent it from happening again. It challenges everything about cause and effect, and maybe even free will.
It's a heavy thought, remembering a future that didn't happen for you, but maybe did for someone else or another version of you. Okay, for our final story, we go to a long-term care home in upstate New York. This comes from someone who worked IT there, but previously did 2 years on the overnight shift.
A setting that often has its own unique atmosphere, especially at night.
For sure. There was a resident there, Miss Adelaide, 87 years old, mostly lucid, described as very sweet, but apparently had no visitors.
Yeah.
One night, maybe 2:15 a.m., the worker finds Miss Adelaide wide awake, sitting up in bed, humming this slow, eerie tune.
Mm-hmm.
He asks her, Miss Adelaide, do you need anything?
Standard procedure.
Right. But she just looks at him, doesn't blink, and says, you already asked me that. You ask every night, but tonight is different.
Okay, that's specific. And a bit chilling.
Yeah, and then she adds, you should remember this part. Like he was an actor who'd forgotten his lines.
Wow. Not like confusion, but like a correction.
Exactly. He mentioned it to a supervisor who just kind of brushed it off. Maybe she was dreaming or confused.
Common assumption in that environment.
But the next night, same time, same question from the worker, and Miss Adelaide gives the exact same response, word for word.
Okay, now that's pattern recognition. That's harder to dismiss.
And then the third night, she passed away in her sleep, around 1:50 a.m. By the time the worker did his rounds later, her room was already empty, bed made, belongings gone. Almost like clockwork.
That's sad, but the timing after those comments is notable.
It really stuck with the worker. He couldn't shape what she'd said. So later, when he was in IT, he did some digging, went through old facility records, archived nurses' notes for her file.
And what did he find?
He found reports from another night staff member, years earlier, documenting Miss Adelaide doing similar things, repeating phrases back to staff, predicting small actions accurately, even apparently knowing a new nurse's name before introductions. There was one specific note from 2013. Miss Adelaide apparently said to a nurse, I remember this version. You take your break at 3.07. You always do.
In goods.
The nurse checked her watch. It was exactly 3.07.
Unbelievable. So this wasn't new. She'd been experiencing or reporting these loops for years.
It seems so. The worker who told the story, he believes she was caught in some kind of loop or glitch, stuck reliving parts of her life, maybe waiting for something to change, for it to end differently.
Like watching reruns of her own final years, that's a profoundly lonely and terrifying thought.
And it gets a bit wider. He talked to other former staff later. Some mentioned having really weird, vivid dreams while working there. One even said a different patient warned her she was about to be fired, giving specific reasons. And a week later, she was let go due to downsizing, just as predicted.
So the whole place might have had this strange resonance. It leads back to Miss Adelaide's comment, you should remember this part, maybe déjà vu isn't always just our glitch.
What do you mean?
Maybe sometimes it's a message. Maybe from someone like Miss Adelaide, trapped in her loop, reaching out across timelines like the worker wondered. Trying to warn us, remind us we've been here before, maybe when things didn't end well.
Imagine that. Living a life where the future you perceive is just a past you're forced to repeat.
It's a very unsettling concept.
So wrapping these accounts together, Ryan's apartment and the shared dread, the other Ryan's premonition at the abandoned house, the Scranton driver remembering a fatal crash that didn't happen, and Miss Adelaide seemingly stuck repeating time. It paints a picture of déjà vu that's far, far stranger than just a neurological hiccup, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. These stories directly challenge our basic ideas about time being a straight line, about memory being just recordings of the past, even about how much control or free will we really have.
Are they glimpses of other realities?
Yeah.
Echoes of past lives, maybe? Or like that one narrator suggested, is time more like a loop that keeps reloading?
The sheer detail in these accounts and the deep impact these experiences had on the people involved,
Yeah.
it makes it really hard to just wave them away as misfiring neurons.
What really stands out to you the most, thinking about all of them?
For me, it's the element of prediction and shared experience. When the déjà vu isn't just internal, but seems to accurately predict external events, or when two people experience the same impossible premonition or dream, that's where it gets really difficult to explain away easily. It suggests an objective component that's truly baffling.
Yeah, that shared aspect is definitely compelling. Well, these stories certainly give us a lot to think about. Maybe even look over our shoulder next time we get that I've been here before feeling.
Indeed. Maybe next time it happens, you won't just dismiss it. You might pause and wonder, is it just my brain? Or am I maybe feeling a little ripple, A whisper from another time, another possibility.
A reminder of something that hasn't happened yet, or maybe already did. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the darker side of déjà vu.
It's been fascinating, if unsettling.
If you enjoyed this exploration into the strange and unexplained, please make sure to like this video, share it with fellow curious minds, and subscribe to our channel Horror Docs for more dives into chilling accounts and unsolved mysteries. We'll see you next time.